Mr. Barker, I bet if you called your senator, she could get somebody to respond to you.
Happy to help.
So in my introductory remarks, I referenced the MOU that SBA and USDA signed in 2023. It identified areas for potential collaboration, and as part of the MOU, the SBA, USDA, and FDIC, the alphabet soup of acronyms that we talk about here, host a joint regional economic development workshop series called Path to Prosperity. These workshops connect rural small businesses with government officials, lenders, service providers, and other stakeholders. We did a Small Business Committee hearing in New Hampshire last week, and it was on a different issue, but one of the things we did at the end of the hearing was to include a bunch of resource partners like those I just mentioned, the IRS, SBDCs, USDA, a number of state agencies, to be there to answer questions for small businesses who might have questions and not be sure how to navigate the federal apparatus. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how those kinds of workshops might help your business, Mr. Luce, and also, Mr. Menke, you served as state director for USDA Rural Development about the time that that MOU was signed. Can you speak to some of your experience on the ground coordinating the SBA and other agencies? And I'll ask you to go first, Mr. Luce, and then Mr. Menke.
Yeah, I think those programs are great for raising awareness and even knowing the programs exist. Like the example of the New Hampshire Export Accelerator that the SBDC put together. I had no idea that the U.S. Commercial Service would set up meetings for you with foreign companies and vet them. I had no idea there were STEP grants to help pay for trade missions or developing marketing materials and translations for going into foreign markets. So I think in that way, it really helps raise awareness for the programs and connect businesses to the people, that they actual humans, instead of like scouring websites trying to find information about these programs. The other thing I noticed in the Export Accelerator that was really great was there were, during some of the sessions, the Commercial Service, the SBA, the SBDC, and the State Trade Office were all on those webinars. And there were times when those agencies were asking each other more questions than the participants were about each other's programs. So they were learning from each other and figuring out ways that they could work together and how their programs could complement each other.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important observation. One of the things that I enjoyed about the resource fair was that they were not just answering and talking to the small business owners who were there, but they were talking to each other, which sometimes we don't do as well as we should across all federal, state, and local agencies. Mr. Menke?
Well, in my time at Rural Development, we coordinated regularly with SBA, and it was a KPI. It was a directive for us to do so. We did a lot of rural small business road shows where we would meet with lenders and economic development representatives in communities all across rural Iowa to share information on those loan programs and services available from USDA and SBA, and to help rural businesses start, grow, and expand, and just to continue to discuss economic development ideas to grow small businesses. And coordinating helped to cross-promote programs. We were required to refer a project to SBA at USDA. They were required to do the same thing. We were required to leverage a project together to have an SBA and USDA joint funded project. So those are things that we definitely did. The SBDCs were great to work with as well, and I think we need to continue expanding that coordination and collaboration to the state level as well. The more fluent we are in how these programs work, the more we can be ready to give assistance to rural small businesses every day, and especially when disasters occur, we've got to be ready to do better.
I agree with that completely. Ms. Lang, can you talk about things that you think some of our federal agencies ought to be thinking about as we try and get out the word to those companies that you see who come into your bank to look at how they can get help?
We were talking about this earlier, and that's a struggle. How do you market that? How do people in rural America find out what the offerings are? You know, so we've had people that called us, and we were talking to them about a USDA loan. They're like, we've never heard of this before. They had no idea. So we, obviously, when they get to us, we educate them the best we can. But as far as a small business owner, I mean, who are they going? Are they going to SBD? I cannot say that.
Yes, DCs.
I took the T out of it, and that's throwing me off. Sorry. So I mean, it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah,
Not though that I have a great answer for that. So.
And of course, those outreach budgets are some of the first things that get cut on federal agencies. Senator Ernst.